There's been a lot of headlines and talk of Usyk as a generational great, the best heavyweight since Lennox Lewis. Some are even putting him in the GOAT debate, right? Greatest of all time. Usyk is undoubtedly an all-time great. And those who want to have the GOAT debate, they can go ahead. But a ton of boxing fans and pundits are kind of missing the bigger picture. It may be a bit difficult for us non-Ukrainians to wrap our heads around, but Oleksandr Usyk and his greatness go well beyond boxing. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao are all-time greats. Same too with Canelo Alvarez, Naoya Inoue, and more. But Oleksandr Usyk is walking the path that very few athletes ever tread. When you consider history, Usyk has become transcendent. Let me explain. He is transcendent beyond boxing, and actually something even more than that. The very first fighter that immediately comes to mind for most when you think of a transcendent boxer is Muhammad Ali. One might also think about Jack Johnson, Joe Louis. But one could also consider Iron Mike Tyson, his performances, aura, impact on culture, as transcendent. What Usyk is, what Ali was, and still is to many, that Tyson is not, is a hero. Muhammad Ali and Oleksandr Usyk have moral missions. Ali spoke out against racism and the war in Vietnam, refused to be drafted, and was sentenced to prison after standing by his morals. Oleksandr Usyk defeated Anthony Joshua to become unified heavyweight champion in 2021. His home country of Ukraine was invaded by Russia in February 2022 and has been fighting for its sovereignty ever since. Usyk was in the UK when he found out, immediately boarded a plane to Poland, then drove to Kyiv, Ukraine's capital, and joined a territorial defense battalion. In March 2022, Ukraine's sports minister said Usyk could leave and return to boxing, have his training camp for the rematch against Anthony Joshua. But Oleksandr was reluctant. He says what convinced him to leave his country and return to boxing was when he visited wounded Ukrainian soldiers who urged him to fight for their nation in the ring. Usyk returned and defeated Joshua again.
Oleksandr Usyk забирає її реванш. Oleksandr Usyk виграє цей поєдинок.
He later fought the unbeaten Tyson Fury and became the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Remember, Usyk had moved up from cruiserweight after clearing out the division, and as a heavyweight, he's routinely been outsized and outweighed by 30, 40, 50 pounds. He carries the weight of a nation at war whenever he steps in the ring, yet he overcomes the odds every time. The man is literally a morale booster. Ukrainian soldiers have talked about watching Usyk's fights on their phones from the front lines. A group of veterans traveled to Wembley to support him in the Dubois rematch. Oleksandr has wrapped himself not just in the Ukrainian flag, but in the traditional outfit of a Cossack warrior. His signature ring walk song by Vasil Zhadan is Bratya, or Brothers. It's a Ukrainian anthem. Here's some of the lyrics of the chorus I found on a translating website. But we are brothers like falcons. We grew up in a free land. We won't give our land to anyone. We would rather die as men. But it's too early for us to die. We have too much work today. Cossack beat the drum for life, and louder trumpeter play. Oleksandr is doing that work. Just before the Dubois rematch, I saw news that Usyk had launched a fundraiser to rebuild homes in his war-torn country, where he still lives, by the way. From what I can see, that love Usyk has for his people is reciprocated tenfold. He's a national hero. Americans, Brits, we may not fully get it, but Oleksandr Usyk and Muhammad Ali have a lot more in common than just their height and reach. They're both transcendent figures in boxing who, beyond that, are heroes with moral missions, who've spoken out against unjust wars and were willing to risk their careers and lives for what's right. Their impact, their meaning, stretch beyond the realm of sport. So, let's appreciate the extraordinary human Oleksandr Usyk for what he truly is. And that right there is Harry's Hook. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who do you want next for Oleksandr Usyk, and how do you see him in the history of boxing?